What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to the MMA Engine, and welcome to Monk and Lou's Happy Hour. It's me at MonkMMATics. It's my guy Lou Betya, and we are here on this Friday afternoon / evening to break down all 12 fights now happening this Saturday. UFC 278, headlined by Camaro Usman and Leon Edwards, the long-awaited rematch that we've all been waiting for. So, Lou, we've only lost one fight so far. Hopefully that sticks. Hopefully we don't lose any more. What's your feeling on this card? You excited for this one?
We didn't lose Wu Yunan, and that is all I
That's
care
true.
about for this card. And that's all that Brady really cares about for this card. He says he's not betting it, but I still have time
We all
to
know he
convince him
is.
about it. Apologies for the clean-shaven face. I tried to do something really ridiculous and stupid, and it even was worse than I thought. So I just said, fuck it, hack the whole thing off, and let's go. Just shout out to the chat. We got Couch
Yes,
Warrior.
please.
We got Lauren Williams. We got Propaholic. We got Eagles, 1985. Another Philly guy, I'm pretty sure. I would hope so.
I would imagine.
Unless it's like the Boston College Eagles. But I'm pretty sure I've heard him talk about Philly before.
That could be.
And if you
Doug
guys
Flutie
haven't had
reference.
a chance, please check out the interview we did with Jay Perrin yesterday.
Yes.
Super cool dude. Really easy to talk to. Told us some shit that like probably shouldn't have told us. Tommy touchy in the chat, but he was really easy to talk to. He was really great to interview. He put up with my stupidity, and we talked about some mental health stuff. So, highest recommendation. I was already a fan of his, but rooting for him big tomorrow. So, let's go. Yeah, I mean that's okay. Sure, it's he's. I don't like taking him by a method here. So, but we'll get to that fight.
Yeah, for sure. In order. So stick around, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you are here. Help the MMA Engine grow bigger and bigger. It's me, Wheezy, Brady, and Lou bringing you content several times a day, several days a week before each and every UFC card. So stick around with us, and you'll always know how to play DraftKings, how to make what wagers to make, etc., where the value is. No more bullshitting, Lou. Without further ado, let's get into the first fight of the night. As you can see on the screen, we've got Victor Altamirano going against Daniel Da Silva, aka Daniel Lacerda. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off for us?
I have no idea. I assume it's Da Silva now because it's been two fights in a row. I have a prop on this. I have Altamirano round 2 sub at plus 650 as given away on props to consider, and then maybe bet. I do like the under here. Under 2.5 minus 175. That's my favorite bet. It's really more on the Da Silva fight condition than Altamirano. Altamirano is a pretty tough dude, but Silva, 5 minutes of cardio, throws everything in the tank. Coming off getting knee barred in a minute by Walmart Figgy. Never a good look there. I don't see that happening here, but I do see Da Silva just wearing out. He's live for the first 3 minutes, I guess, but that's why I think the time prop is the way to go. I should mention that just remember for these fights, they're fighting at elevation in Salt Lake City. So for me, I'm going to be a little heavier on time props than usual because of that, because of the cardio advantages. Da Silva has bad cardio to start. It's just going to be magnified. So give me Altamirano to win, but I'm not taking the money line. If you want to play him in the distance, that's fine. But I like the under 2.5 as my safest play there. And I do have a prop on the round 2 sub at plus 650.
Yeah, I do love the under there as well. This one is going to be one that I'm going to be targeting for DK just because it's going to be high variance. We have no idea what's going to happen. I'll be picking Altamirano, but I mean, both of these guys are out here, getting finished or finishing in most of their fights lately. So, Altamirano had a pretty close one against Carlos Hernandez in his UFC debut. Both guys don't generally score well, but Daniel Da Silva gives up almost 7 points a minute and 104 when he loses. This is over 2 UFC losses, I believe, to, like you said, Walmart Figgy and then Jeff Molina in his opener. So I like Altamirano here. I think this one's going to be sloppy, and I think someone is getting finished early. So I'm with you. I love the under here, and I'm afraid you're going to have to, roll the dice and put one of these guys in your lineups. I'll probably have 50% of this fight, maybe a little bit less, 40 to 50% is kind of how I am seeing it. Like I said, just because I have no idea. So now we will move on. We'll get to the aforementioned Jay Perrin, the MMA Engine's guy this week. Jay Perrin going against Orichi Lang for, 8,500 for Lang, 77 for Perrin. This is, again, I think this is going to be a must play, guys. Orichi Lang scoring well over 4 points a minute, 125 when he wins. He gives up over 5 and 112 when he loses. And that's over 2 losses. So he's either finishing or getting finished. Jay Perrin put up one hell of a fight on a short notice bout against Mario Batista in his first UFC fight. But I mean, how are we not rooting for Jay Perrin this week, Lou? Like, I love this guy. I love this salary, and I love his potential here. I think someone's getting finished in this fight. I think Arichi Lang has more of a chance of getting finished than Jay Perrin, in my opinion. Arichi Lang has been finished twice in his career, both by sub. So I might be talking myself out of it live on live YouTube here, but man, these numbers do not look as good as I thought they would. I kind of leaning decision now that I'm like looking at everything. I think both guys are probably super tough. But yeah, I love the $7,700 side. It's the second best salary to play on DraftKings. And I mean, come on, we're not rooting for Jay Perrin this week. Get out of here. We're rooting for Jay Perrin all day. So give me Perrin at 7,700. What's your take on this one? Any good lines sticking out?
Well, I'm glad that you said Arichi Lang's name correctly, since the other two jobbers on this channel refuse to say it correctly.
Just refuse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the Perrin side, obviously. If I have to break it down, I would say the following. Perrin's never been knocked out. He's been subbed a couple times. I don't see Arichi Lang subbing him. And Arichi Lang, I was not impressed with his cardio against Cody Durden. I don't really care about the Cameron Else fight because, like, Cameron Else is not a UFC level fighter. So, like, I'm not taking a lot out of that win. I think it's probably Arichi Lang early. I think it's Perrin as the fight goes on. So give me Perrin a win. It's plus 115 now. He's been getting hammered. The line's hammered him. I don't really like a method as much here. But round 3 is kind of oddly worth a poke at over plus 2,000. I don't think I'm not like recommending that you go hit that. But I do think that if there's finish equity in this fight, it's from the Perrin side, and it's very late.
Agreed. Yeah, both of these guys are, 0-1 for Perrin, obviously, in the UFC, but 0-2 in fights that go over 2.5 rounds for Arichi Lang. So they're 0-3 combined. The secret juice that Costa showed up with. I did see a question here. Uncertainty. Yes, 7,700 is second best. First best, so absolute best is we will be talking about him. 9,500 is the best salary you can play as far as DraftKings, and we will get into that shortly. Also, I'm redoing Salary Voodoo. I've got a bunch more information, the stats are going to be more detailed, I should say. So that will be coming out shortly. Stay on the lookout for that. But yeah, love that breakdown of this one. I'm hoping we get a Jay Perrin finish, but I just don't know. Depends on how tough Arichi Lang is. Or yes, Tommy Arichi Lang. There we go. Next fight, Jay Perrin inside at plus 430. That's not terrible. I kind of would want a better number than that, though. Amir Albazi going against as the aforementioned Walmart Figgy, Francisco Figueiredo. I'll go ahead and start this one off. Man, I'm picking Albazi, but 9,200 for 2.85 points a minute and 88 per win is not something I'm looking forward to. We'll look at Francisco's DraftKings defense. He only allows 2.81 and only 80 in his one UFC loss. So I think this one probably goes the distance with neither fighter scoring well, is kind of how I'm playing it. The salaries are ridiculous here. You're paying up $1,000 for Albazi, and you're paying $1,500 under Francisco's average salary. So give me, I'll have a bit of Figueiredo here, but I just think Albazi probably beats him pretty. Yeah, and that's the thing. I can't tell, Andy G. I can't tell. Does Figueiredo even have a chance here? Because if he has a chance, I'm going to be putting this $7,000 dog in a few of my lineups, especially as like a dart throw. Definitely some salary relief. There's so much high or good top end this week, and I just don't think Albazi's one of them. I don't think he's going to finish Figgy. I don't think he's going to score very well. So give me Francisco a little bit, like I said, as a dart throw. What's your read on this matchup here?
It's kind of
we haven't seen Albazi in a year and a half.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that makes me hesitant here. He's going to be better everywhere, just in a vacuum. But I can't back this line at almost minus 500. And honestly, like, he has some finish equity, but not enough to make me justify it. Honestly, I think this goes the distance, but I'm not trying to bet Albazi by decision here either. This is just a complete pass for me altogether. The pick's Albazi. I mean, that's the easy pick here. He is
Yeah.
better skilled, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think, especially the first round. It might be interesting.
Yeah, I see the Albazi decision sitting at basically even money, which there's no way I'm getting to that at all. So yeah, it could be interesting. Like I'd like to see Figgy win, especially for my DraftKings lineups. Yeah, the Blackshear fight. I mean, and how that and nobody got their win bonus in that one. So could be another low scoring event here. This is another one where I personally like the dog. Spoiler alert: AJ Fletcher going against Anja Lusa. What do you have for this fight?
This is a parlay piece for me, and it's all-time props. I talked about, we're going to be at elevation, so look for unders, but these dudes are so tough. Fletcher is just, his cardio did not look great last time out as the fight went on against Semmelsberger, but he looked good early. I don't know that he's going to get the takedowns as easily this time, though. And that's the one big red flag for me here. I think Luce is tough. He doesn't throw enough volume. He never seems to have that like desperate, like knows when to go for it in his fights. But I do think he's going to have the better cardio. I think he's tougher. I think he can withstand any of the takedowns and keep this upright. And if the fight does stay upright for 15 minutes, I do favor the Luce side. But the pick for my bet is fight goes distance at -150 or -165. I see at DraftKings, but -150 on most books. I just think I don't see either one of them getting a finish here. And maybe if Fletcher does get some takedown success, that's great. But I just can't really, I don't think it's going to be very exciting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like this one goes the distance as well. Fletcher was less than impressive against, like you said, against Semmelsberger here. And Lusa seems to be, extremely tough and durable. Rather, Fletcher did score decently per minute, 4.3 points a minute. Let's see, only 2.18 is what he gave up per minute in that fight. Lusa gave up 3.88, but his fight was against Munir Lazez, probably a bit better competition than Matthew Semmelsberger, in my opinion. More of a natural striker, I would say. Fletcher did do well in his takedowns and control time, but I just don't think he's going to get him against Lusa here. I think Lusa is going to be able to out cardio him. I feel like this one is going to be a low scoring decision. I'm right with you there. And I will be putting my eggs in Lusa's basket instead of AJ Fletcher for the most part. I just like it a little bit better. 7,800. You get a little bit of salary relief, but then Fletcher, we're going to see a lot from Fletcher in this one. Man, honestly, probably lose. I just can't imagine Fletcher finishing anyone,
if Fletcher gets the takedowns going early, I would say him. But if it stays standing, I don't think Luce is not some massive power puncher knockout guy. He doesn't throw a lot of volume. I could see Fletcher getting a takedown and maybe getting like a ground and pound here, but I see Derek says Luce around 3. I do think he's going to have a tremendous cardio advantage going into the third. I just can't really, I can't really justify it playing either side. If you gave me Luce at +170 or higher, yeah, but
sure.
I missed it earlier in the week when it was a little higher.
Yeah, what are we at? 133 on average, probably a little bit worse now. But yeah, I don't trust Fletcher yet, so I think the cardio is going to be a big deal here. I'd at least want to see what Fletcher is like. That's what I was saying. This is going to be a test for Fletcher. We're going to be able to get a better picture of him after this fight for sure. Next is the Miranda Maverick fight. Unfortunately, that fight is off. She was pretty much, for me, a lock at 9,300 against a Shanimal, who she's already beaten in her career. So that is very unfortunate for us. But that does open up some doors for other big favorites. Like this guy could be a bit of a sleeper. Was Fletcher short notice versus semi? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Very short notice.
So that could be an issue there as well. But Sean Woodson is a guy that is interesting. I hear a lot more people talking about him in the past couple of days as far as being able to get a finish over Luis Saldana. What do you think about that?
Oh, I like the Woodson side here big. I'm just not a huge fan of Saldana at all.
No.
I hate his cardio. I hate his striking defense. I think Woodson's going to piece him up. I have Woodson by KO already as a prop, and I also have Woodson round 3 prop at, I believe it was +1100 for the KO. I'm looking it up right now. Woodson round 3 KO, 1,100 on my book. It's 1,500 on FanDuel, which is very nice, but I got it at plus 1,100. I think Woodson's just going to piece him up. I mean, if you want to play a little hedge on round 2, I don't hate that either. Like Saldana only has about 5 to 6 minutes of cardio, but I mean, Woodson's not like some massive KO guy at the UFC level, but I just think Saldana is not going to be able to withstand. And I am curious to hear what you say about him, because with all these dudes that are minus like 9,000 or higher this week on DraftKings, Woodson's flying under the radar a little bit. Was he 8,800?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, he's flying under the radar a little bit for a guy that I think has some serious finish. Doesn't have takedown upside, but he definitely has some finish equity.
No, I agree there. And his striking should be eons better than Luis Saldana. Let's look at Saldana. Does allow, let's see, almost 2 points a minute in striking and knockdowns, and then almost, what is that, 8.8 points a minute in takedowns and control time. I highly doubt we see that from Sean Woodson here. Woodson, without the takedowns and control time, still managing the 6th best offensive pace on the card at 3.6 points a minute. Only averages just under 90 per win. Saldana not giving up a ton of points historically, so I think if Woodson is going to pay off a salary, it is going to have to come inside the distance for sure. But I don't mind that. Saldana used to being a bit taller, usually a bit bigger than his opponents. It seems like not in this case at all. Woodson's got the 3-inch height, the 5 inches of reach minimum, and it's probably even more than that. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Woodson side. I will be playing him a bit more than I was originally at the beginning of the week, just because I think this one does finish. I think Woodson has a good chance of finishing. And like you said, in the top range here, like where's my chart? What are we looking at? I mean, Romanov, big question marks there against his most experienced opponent. Maverick's gone now, so that opens up a spot. Tyson Pedro is a smash spot, it seems like. Jared Gordon, definitely not. So I like Woodson right there with a lot of the other top finishers that I see this week. So that could be an interesting angle, and I do think he will be a bit low owned. People look at him, they probably see just a tall, lanky featherweight, someone that shouldn't even be in the division. He's kind of going under the radar in a few of these fights, and I think there's going to be a lot more ownership on the guys around him than on him. So could be an interesting spot, and if he does win early, that's going to pay off that $8,800 salary pretty well. Next fight, someone I did just mention, Jared Gordon going against Leonardo Santos. Leonardo weighing in last today, 42 and a half years old. All that aside, I mean, I'll let you talk about the Jared Gordon side, what you told me before we went online, but I just have questions here, especially on the Jared Gordon side. But then you look at his numbers, he scores 4.72 points a minute offensively, which is 4th best on the card, 106 when he wins. But when he loses, guys, he's giving up only 2.65 a minute, which is fine, but almost 109 points per loss over 4 losses. That means, what is up, Wheezy? That means Gordon is out here getting finished. All 4 of his UFC losses, he has been finished. In fact, all of his pro losses, he's been finished. But in the UFC, 3 KO TKOs and 1 submission. Leonardo Santos is a guy that you cannot take lightly. Yeah, he's 42 years old, but he could come up here and absolutely wreck your shit. So I'm not interested in paying $710 over Gordon's average salary for him this week, but Santos coming in $1,100 under his salary is looking pretty good. And I see Jared Gordon here. All of his losses, he's given up over 90. All 3 out of 4 of his losses over 100, and 2 of them over 110. So this guy's giving out points like it's Halloween here, and he's giving out junior mints. He seems like a junior mint guy, this Jared Gordon. So tons of points flying around in Gordon fights. What do you think about this one? I love what you said before the show on Jared Gordon's mindset.
Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people in chat already know this, but Gordon's been talking about how he hates the sport and was thinking about retirement, and then he had to come out and clarify his statement, saying that basically it just gives him so much anxiety during a fight week that it's not worth it to him. But
yep.
Santos, as Derek said, he looked bad today. So
yeah, I thought he was going to have to get carried up those stairs.
So I already had a bet. One of the first bets I put in during the week was fight doesn't go at plus 105. I have added a little bit to that, and I have fight doesn't start round 3 at plus 140. I feel that's safe. It's because Santos for 3 or 4 minutes of this fight is going to be very dangerous. It's going to be very dangerous on the feet. If it hits the ground, it's going to be dangerous. I do think that this whole bet is predicated on Santos being older and really having no cardio at all. If he doesn't win in 3 minutes, he's dead.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, I don't know what kind of price you're going to get on Jared Gordon after round 1 if Santos dominated the first. I don't think you're going to get a very good price on him. I think the books have caught on to this. But if you want to play Santos, you have to play him round 1. It's plus 800. That is the only winning condition he has here. And if you do, you're basing it on Gordon kind of, maybe not being able to withstand some of these shots anymore. But the pick is Gordon later, like round 2 sounds all right to me. But fight doesn't go and fight doesn't start the third. Play the time props here with how bad Santos looked.
Yep.
I think it's the safest way to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, a lot being made of his way in today, and for good reason. Like who was it? I think somebody in the chat, Ross said that he almost had to be carried out. It looked like he came around the corner with his arms around, or one of his coaches was like holding him up. They needed the box. He made weight pretty, at 156 even. But yeah, he looked not great. So I assume he kind of always does not look great. I mean, with every weight cut after 40 has to be absolutely terrible.
I mean, look, we hit Guido Canetti round 1 KO. Like some of these dudes, as they get older, if that's the winning condition, there's no reason to bet a money line.
Right.
You play him in the distance or you play him round 1. So, I mean, that's the only way to play this fight on the Santos side for me.
Oh, and this guy, he'll be good by the time he gets to the cage. I'm sure he's all, he'll be hydrated and back up to 170.
just wheel him out there. It'll be fun.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll get to see a nice early knockout or finish of Jared Gordon. I know somebody had a question. I don't know. I'm thinking probably, God, it depends. Paulo Costa is going to be much higher owned. Woodson's going to be sneaky. So I'd say, play, at least have one of them in your lineup is what I would say. I think they both win pretty easily. Next fight, a heavyweight fight that should be on the goddamn main event, but I digress. Marcin Tybura going against Alexander Romanov. Actually, I'm going to let you go ahead and start this one. What's your take on this heavyweight fight?
Dude, you need to have Putilova and Wuyanan on the main card. So I completely understand. They should have moved Usman down to get this one up. So I've been on the Tybura train all week. I think this is the kind of matchup. Now Romanov looked good today. Let's get this out of the way. He looked great. He's dropped weight. So maybe his cardio will be improved. But we're just guessing. But we've seen Tybura do all these. We've seen him have 3-round fights. We've seen him have 5-round fights. Tybura has cardio. We haven't really seen it tested. Romanov, look, he's beating up cans. So, like, Tybura is the kind of guy that can. Here's what I think is going to happen. Romanov is going to get a takedown in the first round, but is going to come late because Tybura will make him work for it. He's going to be better on the feet. I have the round 3 prop for this at plus 3,300 on BetMGM. I bet this one sort of irresponsibly because it's like the first prop all week. I saw it and I'm like, wow. Like 3,300 for this is crazy. I no matter what Romanov does, I just can't get the Espino fight out of my head as how tired he was getting in the second. And in the third round, he gave up. I mean, he was quitting by the third round. So we're going to be at elevation. Romanov has not proven that he can fight past the first couple of rounds. Over 1.5 at minus 175 is another great play that I'm looking at here. If Romanov does win, I just don't see him. I could see Romanov winning a decision if he wins the first 2 rounds cleanly, but give me somebody with Tybura's experience, his takedown defense to keep this fight, make it a real struggle for Romanov to get control. Obviously that goes out the window if Romanov gets on top of him in the first minute of the fight, but I don't think he will. I think Tybura can weather the storm. And hey man, I will always support a yam bag shot here. We did have one with Romanov and Espino, but give me Tybura to weather the storm. I like him to, but he always looks like but he always looks crappy. Like, I don't know. What is a bag of milk? Get out of here.
Must be Canadian.
So, yeah. So give me Tybura to win. Give me Tybura to win round 3 and give me the over 1.5 minus 175.
Yeah, I do think the weight difference, I mean, he was exhausted. He did want to quit in that Espino fight, but he's also going to be about 30 to 40 pounds, lower than what he was in that one. Looks in much better shape. But it is concerning that he's getting smaller and smaller every single fight. to the point where Tybura, I think, weighed in 11 pounds heavier than Romanov did. I'm going to be playing this fight, guys. Tybura scores well over 3 a minute, over 90 when he wins, which is definitely going to pay off the $7,200 salary for sure. In fact, Tybura has made the optimal lineup in 1 out of his past 2 fights. Meanwhile, Romanov out here smashing people, 5.4 points a minute, 110 when he wins, only allows 1.5, but he's been out here throwing guys around and submitting them pretty easily. He's fighting guys like, I don't know, Chase Sherman, Jared Vandera, Roque Martinez, guys like that. Meanwhile, Tybura has been fighting guys like Volkov. I guess his isn't even much better. Maxim Grishin, Ben Rothwell in 2020, Greg freaking Hardy.
It's still way better. It's still way better.
It is way better, but it is pretty gross. It's like eating at Golden Corral or something. It's like that looks gross, but that also
would you like to know a fun fact?
Yeah.
Tybura is the only guy on this card that fought the last time they were in Salt Lake City.
When the heck was that?
A very, very long time ago. I'm trying to remember who he beat. He beat, sorry, I'm scrolling way too, Victor Pasta.
Wow.
August 6, 2016. But more importantly, do you know what happened on August 6, 2016 at that very card?
What's that?
Tetsuo Ishihara won a match on the prelims, and on the microphone after the fight, they asked him who he wanted to fight next, and he's like, "What's up? Where are my Salt Lake City bitches?" And that's all he kept saying. That's all he cared about. And later on that night, he posted a picture. He found his Salt Lake City bitches.
That is just a great story. A good.
And then the low ball, fight.
Story.
He got shot in the yam bags like 4 times during the low ball fight. So that's the one dude you don't want to get kicked in the yam bags is Ishihara.
No kidding. Oh God.
I agree with Big Joe here. His hair.
The Dutch boy, yeah, for sure.
Now, but here's the thing: it's baked into the line. They typically bake the bad haircut into the line. So Lauren's saying she's got that. Yeah, without the KO method is,
that's not terrible.
Yeah, I don't want to get greedy with him at any of those prices. You don't want to get greedy there. Like, God forbid you pick a round 3 KO and he wins by sub. Like,
oh God,
never forgive yourself.
No,
even though I did that with Kyler Phillips, right, the round 3 sub, and I'm like, oh my God, if he gets a KO, I'm gonna hate life. But
we'll finish this one off. I do like Romanov at $9,000. It is a great salary to play. And it's one of 2 things is gonna happen here. We're gonna know that Romanov is not at the level that we maybe thought he was with his 5-fight UFC win streak if he loses to Tybura, or he's going to come out here and finish Marcin Tybura, and we are going to be even more on notice than we already were regarding this guy and the heavyweight division. Either one of those situations I don't want to miss out on DraftKings, so I will be playing a bit of both sides here, but I mean, Tybura's got to be the sensible, is that a word? The sensible, there we go. The sensible pick is Marcin Tybura, but man, I think Romanov could just come out here and like a see what I can do type of fight. So it could be very interesting. Exactly.
A quick bet. You know?
So and that's going to do well in DraftKings.
Let me ask you a question. I see Rob's on the king side. And look, I understand people betting Romanov. He's the favorite. I get it. How good do you feel with that ticket once the second round starts?
Not good.
Gets a little dicey. Tybura won a round off Volkov. Look, in that fight, Volkov didn't look right there either, but I don't like holding those tickets, guys, that don't have traditional good cardio late. So
no, and I would be very scared about that. The only thing that would make me feel better is Romanov seemingly, dropping that much weight, your cardio automatically has to go up a couple levels. But if he hasn't been exercising the cardio, then it's not going to be too much. So I will be very interested to see what this looks like outside of the first round, if it gets that far. Next fight, Tyson Pedro going against Harry Hunsucker at light heavyweight, 9,500. Tyson Pedro, I forget who the question was earlier, but this is the best possible statistical salary to play in DraftKings. Winning or makes optimal 50% of the time that it is played. Pedro only scoring 2.5 points a minute, 107.55 overall per win, which before his last fight, he hadn't fought since 2018. So Ike Villanueva is really the only fight that we're going to get any kind of knowledge here from, or glean any kind of whatever the word is I'm looking for. But Hunsucker, man, I mean, I know he's the meme fighter of the week, but unless Pedro blows his knee out or somehow Hunsucker lands a punch out, which I don't even think is going to be possible. I mean, Hunsucker has shown no ability to fight so far in the UFC, so why would this be any different? I just think it's a Pedro smash spot. Like I said, unless he blows his own knee out or somehow Hunsucker lands that one shot in the first round, I think this has Pedro written all over it. And at 9,500, you'd be a fool not to put him in your lineup for that first round equity. Yeah, Harry, I mean, he looks better than he did before. I'll say that much. Now, what's he going to look like in the cage? That is a bit more important to me. But Tyson Pedro scoring very well. Hunsucker giving up over 100 points or more in both of his losses and over 110 in one of them. Yeah, there's not much to say about this guy. I don't have much relevant data. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what did he score last time? I think he put up 2 points against Tafa, and he put up 0.8 against Tai Tuivasa. So does not do well with guys with T's in their name, and we got a guy with a T in his name right here. So I mean, I just think Pedro finishes this super early. If this does get to round 2, much like the Romanov fight, in fact, even worse, I will be what's his name from Airplane or Jordan Peele, just sweating constantly. So hopefully Pedro can get the job done in the first. I mean, Hunsucker's, what's his ownership going to be? I know we lost Miranda Maverick. Is it even going to be 10%? So you could play 10, 15, 10 or 12% Hunsucker. You could play 10% Hunsucker and still be well over the field. Is it like 8% last I checked, but that will probably go down. What's your look for this one? I mean, this has. I think you
might be better off playing Shanna Young than Hunsucker, and she's not even on the card at this point.
She's
true. In the hospital. Yeah. Here's a crazy betting line. I'm not taking this bet, but this is insanity. Tyson Pedro to win in 60 seconds or less is plus 400 odds.
The odds on this fighter, it's minus 1,100 to go.
I've never seen a 60-second win priced so low. This is insanity. Yeah, I mean, you could just do Pedro round 1's minus 225. It's kind of a terrible bet. Under 1.5 minus 400. This is just a parlay piece at best. There's nothing really to add to this. I had put out yesterday the Pedro round 1 sub was plus 550. There's some appeal to this. Pedro has some subs in his repertoire. And let's be honest, he could do whatever he wants here. I'm not saying it's a prison love story. This is a prison love story. Like, it's that kind of fight. Like, Pedro is going to do to Hunsucker whatever Pedro wants to do to him. And
he's going to do what Paulo Costa wants to do to Luke Rockhold.
In my head, I have to assume that Pedro and like Jelton Almeida have a bet as to who can finish him faster. So, like, I think Pedro can get a takedown and get a submission here. I think, like I said, any of the time prop, the under, the in the distance props are like, they're just so blown up that they're not really worth it unless you're just doing a juice boy parlay, which isn't really my style. But I think this round 1 sub is kind of an interesting pivot away from, because the KO prop's minus 252. So give me as a sub, as a prop, I like the Pedro round 1 sub, but I'm going to play the under 1.5 in a couple of plays just to, just to have.
Mix it up. Yeah.
At this point, I mean, look, if you just want to take ballsy plays, you could take under a half round. A sub, but you're looking at a fight where it's really hard to squeeze the grape here,
Yeah, no kidding. Or else you'll end up looking like the basket lady, breathing on the ground all hard and shiznit. Wu Yanan, that was a grape stomping reference, Lou, in case you didn't realize. Wu Yanan, I mean, in the fight of the night, going against Lucy Putilova. Let's see. I have a question for you. If there was a UFC fighter that was 3-9, Lou, 3-9, would you put them on the main card? 3-9 record in the UFC.
If your name's Chase Sherman, then yes.
If your name is Chase, unfortunately, even none of these women are even an anagram of Chase Sherman. But much like Captain Planet, with their powers combined, they are 3-9 and on the main card in the UFC. I do not understand that, and of course, I messed up my whole system here. But I mean, don't disrespect the Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu Yunan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to replace her. You can only have 9 in Wu-Tang, as you know. And if you don't, that's the rule. So who would you replace her with? Or who would you replace when she comes in? You know, you can't get rid of
like the band manager.
We had 9 and then like Capadonna's in there. So then you kind of had 10, but then ODB died. So you're technically back to 9, but now his kid is kind of in there. So you're technically back to 10. There might just not be room for Wu here. I mean, you got to get rid of somebody. It's not going to be like even I'm not getting rid of for Yanan Wu. So this fight's a huge pass for DraftKings. I mean, if one of these women gets a finish, like, well, you know, fuck me. I guess I missed out on, you know, I guess I missed out on this on this play, but I don't even see how I have any of them in my lineups at all. I don't trust either of them for cash. Lucy Putilova pretty much is terrible. She went on an 0-4 run in the UFC. Somehow she got 4 UFC fights in a row, 4 losses in a row before she was finally told to kick fucking rocks. And then she won a bunch of fights in some other some place in Transylvania, and then comes back to fight Wu Yunan, who's won it. This is a trash fight. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm not playing it in DraftKings. I don't see how the ownerships for this fight should be 0. That's all I got to say about this. What's your any reads on this?
Yeah, I got some reads on this. So don't get excited. So somebody asked Clint today what his takeaways were from the weigh-ins, and his immediate comment was Putilova has no biceps. And then he put a picture and he's like, she has none.
She doesn't.
Putilova also, if my memory is correct, was the one that complained months ago when they booked this fight because her picture made her look. I'm not really good at choosing my words, carefully. So I'll just say she looked like it rhymed with a whack chore is what her picture made her look like.
Jack Shore?
Yeah, like a Jack Shore. And we're gonna use that one again. I like that.
There we go.
So all those things being considered, and the fact that I know that Wu Yunan is Brady's favorite fighter on the roster, next to Cachoeira, I'm gonna have 20 units on Wu Yunan. I will probably have a very small bet on Wu Yunan for the sole reason that if it wins, I'm going to annoy Brady every day the rest of my life. Be like, look how much money you left on the table, dude. You didn't bet your girl. And like, call me crazy. I feel like, I mean, I'm definitely not going to do this, but like Wu Yunan, like by finish is kind of like I'm never doing it, but it's plus 550. But you know what bet I like more than Wu inside the distance?
She did sub Lauren Mueller.
Do you know what bet I like better than that one? The bet literally underneath it on Best Fight Odds, it says not Wu inside the distance. It's minus 1100. That is my lock of the day. Not Wu. Not Wu. So you get every result except for Wu inside the distance. But
1100.
and like before Tim Troiano says it later when they do the Lambeau show, this is like a perfect split decision bet.
Oh yeah.
Like this is like, I'm gonna look up what it is while you move on, but because typically these things are in the 400 range. I get the impression this one will. Well, this might not
even money.
Hold on, I got to see if. There we go. Let me see. Wu Yunan.
Wu did put up 100 points.
Plus 330.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't think I can get to there on that one. No. But let's see what if you want to take one or the other here. You're getting plus 750 from now. All right, let's just move on. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure something out for you guys, but
reading this just made me freaking horse laugh out loud.
Yeah, I got
next fight. Next fight, we get into some decent competition now. This one is where we can start, really breaking a few things down here. Probably my favorite fight of the night, honestly. Jose Aldo going against the machine, Merab Dvalishvili. $8,000 for Jose Aldo, $8,200 for Merab. This one is a DraftKings darling fight. In fact, Merab is the DraftKings darling. 6.23 points a minute. 6.23 points a minute. 126.2, and he wins. Only gives up 1.45 points per minute. Sorry, I have all kinds of notifications happening for some reason in the middle of my show here. 67 is all he allows when he loses. Jose Aldo, I don't mind fading Aldo here, guys. He only scores. He's not a very good DraftKings scorer. 2.11 points per minute, 85 per win. That's all he scores. Not a ton of takedowns and control time, doesn't give up a ton of takedowns and control time. He's going to be defending takedowns and control time in this fight. That is a guarantee. Merab scoring 3.3 points a minute in those two categories put together. Merab has put up over 90 in all 7 wins, over 100 in 6 of them, and over 110 in 5 of 7 UFC wins, guys. His scoring 163, 107, 74 against Dodson was his worst one, 148 against Lopez, 135 against Casey Kenny. Meanwhile, Jose Aldo is just coming off of his best DraftKings performance, one of the best DraftKings performances of his career, in which he scored 102 over Rob Font in a very, I won't say very surprising, but a very good to see Jose Aldo performance right there. Yes, Aldo looked bad on the scales. Yes, he always looks bad on the scales, guys. Don't just, this is a regular thing for him. This is going to be a great fucking fight. I'm going to be on the Merab side. Obviously, the DraftKings darling. You got to put him in your lineups. And at 8,200, guys, it's the best DraftKings player on the roster or on the card this week. And he's $500 under his average salary. You have to play this guy. I'll be fading Aldo a bit. I think he will be pretty high owned. I don't think his DraftKings numbers deserve to have him high owned because I think a lot of people are picking him to win. Therefore, they're going to put him in their lineups. I don't think he scores very well in a win. And, if he wins by decision, which I assume we both assume this fight's going to decision, Jose doesn't even score 80 points in a decision win. Meanwhile, Merab outscores that pace by 40 points per decision win, 120. So give me the Merab side. I mean, the huge upside. I don't need to really say anything else about it. Give me Merab Dvalishvili. And I do think he has a great chance to win this fight. I think Merab can win this fight. Jose Aldo is going to have to stick to a very specific game plan in order to stifle Merab's never-ending fight style. So give me Merab for the win and give me him in DraftKings as well. What's your take on this one?
So we have a very unique situation where can you go back to the fight and get it off the woo Putilova, please?
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah.
Obviously, you just want to keep looking at the stats from woo Putilova. So we have a very rare situation of the Drake mush on Jose Aldo versus the Gianni mush on Merab. So
now what do you do?
Not really sure what to do, knowing all that. So Aldo looking bad at the weight cuts. He always looks bad. He looked he looked especially rough today, sure. But always looks bad. So I don't really care about that. The fact of the matter is I was on Merab before the weight. I'm still on Merab. I know Aldo's takedown defense has traditionally been good. Merab is a whole different kind of animal. And I'm not worried about his cardio. I don't care where they're fighting. I'm not really worried about Aldo's cardio, but Merab should be rinse and repeat for 15 minutes going for takedowns.
Exactly.
I actually don't think this will be an exciting fight. If there is finishing equity, it's on the Aldo side. So if I've seen people like putting out the Aldo finish only bet. I don't hate that. But to me, it's Merab and it's prime Merab kind of easier. Derek is saying the draw. I made a joke about that before. I'm like, well, you got to bet the draw now. Like these two mushes on either side of this fight. Fade Drake before you bet Gianni. At least Gianni uses analytics. Like, yeah, that's, fair.
He could have used a few more analytics when figuring out what shade of white to make those teeth. That's for sure.
And if we're being fair, we only right now know that Gianni is really bad at Contender Series bets this year. Like, we don't have all of his metrics for actual Saturday fights. He's gonna lie about him anyway, but he doesn't post them, so we don't really know. We just gotta take his word for it. But I'm just on the Dvalishvili side, and I love Aldo. He's one of my all-time favorite fighters, but this is a horrible matchup for him. Aldo should really, at this point in his career, only be going against strikers or guys like Vera that are strikers that he can backpack for a round if he needs to steal a fight. So it does light up the room.
Yeah, like a fucking torch on Paul Revere, top of Paul Revere's horse.
I mean, I could take over 1.5 here, like he would, and it's probably safe. But give me Dvalishvili, and I'm with you. I think this is a must target on DraftKings as well.
He does have an awful voice. I would try to imitate it, but I don't. It's gonna give me a headache. But yeah, that is an all-time.
Monk, you gotta play the regression here, Monk. You have to play the regression and go over 1.5 rounds. That's where it is.
You're not as whiny. You gotta get a little bit higher of an octave here.
I can't do it because now you sound like Archie Bunker. You sound like Edith Bunker, which most of our viewers probably have no idea who Edith Bunker is.
No idea.
I'm sure Weezy knows who Edith Bunker is, but anybody under the age of 35 may not know who Edith Bunker is. I apologize for the old-timey reference there.
Old-timey indeed. Let's get to the next fight of the night. Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold, the return of Luke Rockhold. Why don't you start us off? I'll start this one off because the main event is next. You start this one off. You go right ahead. Costa and Rockhold.
So, I have an announcement I'll make at the end of this, but I'm just going for broke on this analysis.
Yeah.
I have asked for certain bets to be available from DraftKings. Most of them involve Costa and sex with Rockhold. And I believe that is very much in play here. I think that Costa is going to. I'm only here.
He's still mad about Izzy.
We got ring a ding ding touchy feely Tommy touchy for the Archie.
Yeah,
I am
Archie Lang.
I mean, look, I'm on Costa just absolutely annihilating Rockhold by KO, and it's probably in the first round. I don't know why Rockhold's back. Costa looked so good today. He had a massive boner at the yesterday, literally. He was screaming at he's screaming at getting USADA tested this morning, which I agree with.
He's walking around with his secret stuff like
absolutely
he's Jordan in Space Jam.
It's absolutely ridiculous. They drug test these guys the day of a weigh, and it's
so ridiculous.
It's so absurd, man. It really is. It's really unfair to these guys. And also, Costa being I've never been caught. It's
yeah, very interesting word choice. I know English is not.
I just don't know why Rockhold's back. But Costa is going to win by a good time, we'll say. And I see Derek saying under 0.5 rounds. I mean, I don't know. With Rockhold, could he? I mean, is Rockhold going to come out here?
Guy.
But is Rockhold going to come out and immediately start shooting takedowns? Because if I'm him, that's what that should be what he does. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to be an idiot and stay on the feet.
God.
And just get and he's going to get bonked. Costa round 1 KO. I love it. And Luke is the worst, man. He is a cocky douche. So it's not like Costa isn't a cocky douche. Costa looks like the better human being in this fight. Dude, Costa's only fighting dudes like Rockhold, Vettori, where I'm I don't really like either one of these guys, but I kind of like Costa more. I like Vettori, but I like Vettori because he made weight and was I'll fight you at any weight. I give no fucks. But Costa, his Twitter's great. Rockhold is, he was with his fucking watch. He's on the scale. What a dick.
He's, dude, it is, I forgot how much of an asshole douchebag Luke Rockhold was. I watched the press conference and I'm just dude, he literally yelled at Paulo Costa, why don't you shut up? He's in third fucking grade.
The official pick, by the way, is Costa by Butt Stuff.
Unwanted from Rockhold.
Plus 180.
Hey, that's a pretty good line on that. Yeah, he's still got to be, he's got to get Twitter back for what Izzy did to him. So, but how much of a douchebag do you have to be to make Paulo Costa look like a fucking a good guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know anything. I'm sure he is probably a good guy, but that Rockhold is easily, it's safe to say that he's not a great guy. Hasn't fought in 3 years. I mean, I guess I'll have to roster a tiny bit of Rockhold because what if he does come out here and says and does what he said he's gonna do, which I don't believe. But he's like 3-4 or 3-2. Sorry, 2-3 in his last 5. I mean, his last win was against David Branch. So, guys, if you're old enough to know who Archie Bunker is, you're old enough to know who David Branch is as well, and that was back in 2017. Yeah, exactly. And we all saw Luke Rockhold scoping it out. He was meat gazing, as the kids say. Yeah, you like that? Well, I love that.
I've never heard anybody say
You
that.
never heard that before?
And I don't know why you used kids and meat gazing in the same sentence. But,
Your face. Oh, that was worth it just for that. But yeah, I don't like Rockhold at all. He scores very poorly actually, it's not bad, but he hasn't fought in 3 fucking years. Costa 3.5 points a minute, and blah 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 blah. Costa's gonna wreck this dude. 8,700 is a smash spot this week. I can't believe we're getting Costa only $200 over his average. Fighting Luke Rockhold. This dude is spent. I'd literally be shocked if he wins this fight. Even more shocked to learn that Wu Yanan is not in Wu-Tang Clan. I'd be more shocked to see Luke Rockhold win this fight. Give me Paulo Costa, and that's all we really have to say about it. Guys, we are about to get into the main event. Before we do, there's a ton of you in here, 27 live people. Thank you so much for spending your Friday afternoon with us. Please hit that like if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe on the MMA Engine and hit that bell as well. Like I said, me, Wheezy, Brady, and Lou bringing you guys content every single day before every card. So hit that bell and you will never miss. You'll always know how to play whatever tournaments or bets that you are making for whatever UFC card you're looking at. So thank you so much for joining us. And we'll get you guys out of here right before dinner time on this banger of a fight. Probably my second most behind Jose Aldo and Merab Dvalishvili. My second most fight that I'm looking forward to. Camaro Usman, Leon Edwards. This is the rematch they fought, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. I love the Usman side here. First, I'll start with talking about how Edwards is a terrible DraftKings play. I'd be fading him no matter who he's fighting. 2.5 points a minute, 84 per win. I mean, the guy does not put up any kind of quality numbers. Only, what is this, 4 of 11 UFC fights over 90. 2 of them over 100 points and only 1 over 110. This guy does not score ever. Let's see, he has 2 knockouts in the UFC. He's averaging triple digits, 114 on those knockouts, but win by sub 77, win by decision 78, win by split decision 71. He's just not a good scorer, guys. And unfortunately, for him, he's going up against Camaro Usman. Now, if Merab was not on this card, Usman would probably be the best DraftKings player on the card. Him or Romanov. I'd definitely give it to Usman over Romanov for the longevity. 4.84 points a minute, 121 when he wins over 15 UFC wins on average, 121 points. That's ridiculous. He only gives up 1.25 a minute, and he's cheaper, only $46, but less than his average salary, guys. You're getting Usman. I like that one. Camaro Usman, basically on sale this week, a little bit off of his normal price, going against Leon Edwards. I don't give Leon much of a chance here, to be quite honest. You're going against the huge 60 or 70% stat of winners in the rematch fighting. You're going against all kinds of statistics to get to Leon Edwards this week, which I don't necessarily mind, I guess. I'm not going to be on that side for DraftKings, though, fading him for several reasons, but mostly that he's fighting Camaro Usman. Usman, I mean, unless he shows me that he doesn't want to be in there anymore or wants to go on to the next stages of his career, which I'm not seeing at all, I will be plugging Usman into a ton of lineups. I like him for cash. Probably not parlaying a ton of guys here, but I think Camaro Usman is a parlay piece this week. I don't understand all the talk about Leon Rocky Edwards. I'll be heavy on the Camaro Usman side. And in my opinion, for good reason. $9,100 is a great salary. You can mix him with Paulo Costa, mix him with your Tyson Pedro, and still get a couple of those $9,000 fighters in your lineups with Camaro Usman where he's at. So give me Usman, fading Edwards. Let's go. What have you got for this main event?
Yeah, that. I mean, I don't know what more I can add to it. I'm not really sure where he better be rolling to the bar. I'm not sure where Edwards is better, although I will say this, Edwards, his clinch work is really good. It's very underrated. I just don't think he's going to be the stronger fighter here. I don't trust his cardio the later this fight goes. If you are on the Edwards side, I get it at the price, but fight goes the distance is the safest play to me here. Yeah, I mean, but the best thing I can tell you here is Usman's a good parlay piece, and then you have a great hedge out spot. I do like when main events give me this opportunity. So
very true.
If you are on the Usman side, in all fairness, I keep waiting because I see people on Twitter saying they're betting Edwards, but this line just keeps steadily moving, like it's steadily going toward Edwards getting a better price with Edwards. So if you wait long enough, you probably get north of plus 300 with him. So, but to me, this should be Usman smash spot all day.
Agreed. What is the Peter principle? Am I missing something here? Frank, I need to know what this is. The Peter
I don't know
principle.
What a bag of milk is either.
Is that like the Kelly criterion? I have no idea.
I don't know.
One question from Uncertainty: Paulo Costa or Romanov? Which one will I think will score higher? It depends on who you think is going to finish more often than the other one. In my opinion, Costa finishes Rockhold more often than Romanov finishes Tybura. So percentage-wise, exposure-wise, I'll play it like that. I'll probably have more Costa than Romanov. But like I said, Romanov could come out here and just smash Tybura, and we're like, oh, okay, so Romanov might be, he's like one of those fight. Every time they fight, you're like, oh, he might be the real deal. Oh, he might be the real deal. I think this one against Tybura is going to definitely show us that. So, guys, we did it all. Almost said 13 fights, but 12 fights down and out for UFC 278. We took care of you for all of those. Any last minute questions, throw them in the chat. But otherwise, we got nothing. I mean, go catch our Jay Perrin interview that my guy Lou and my guy Wheezy did yesterday. That is live on the MMA Engine. I know you're still hankering for some MMA talk even after the happy hour is over. So, guys, be sure to check out some of the other stuff on MMA Engine. I mean, any last minute thoughts on this card as a whole before we start the outro here?
Nope. Oh, and check out Brady tonight too. But I would like to say something, if I may.
Yes, please. I open the floor.
If I may announce something to the chat. So we don't have any fights next week, obviously, other than the Contender Series. And so in 2 weeks, when the happy hour returns, I will not be sitting in this seat. I don't know how long I will be gone. I'm going to deal with some health stuff and physical, not like, I'm going to deal with some things. And also I am going to realign my focus short term to get done all the IT stuff on that side of our company so that we can start putting out tons of new analytics, like the Fight Studio refined. I want to get that short up. And right now I'm the only guy in the company that can do it. So when I recover, that is going to be my focus. So I'll still be on Twitter here and there. Like, I'm not vanishing, but my content schedule will be null and void for an indefinite amount of time. I will be back. Somebody will be keeping the seat warm. That will be up to my partner over here, Monk. I have never missed a show since we started the show the beginning of February. I have not missed a show here. I have subbed in for people. I've never missed Liam's show. I've never missed a guest spot. I have never missed one show in 7 months. And 2 weeks from today will be the first show I ever missed. So I will be back. Monk will hold down the fort. Whoever is in my chair is probably a better handicapper, just nowhere near as funny.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Well, at least
thank you guys for putting up with me for the last 7 months. It's been
a much deserved break here, and we do definitely look forward to getting you back. I don't know who. I mean, I've been trying to think of who I'm going to get to even sit in that chair, and it's just like, oh man, I don't know. So I will have to be chat. If you have any ideas, send them to me over on Twitter. Otherwise, man, it's gonna be hard to look for that replacement for a couple weeks, but you do need to get some things taken care of, get that rest, and come back 110%. And we all, me and chat included, all looking forward to that for sure. So take a few weeks off, however long you need, and we will get all of that taken care of, guys. That's it. We wrap up on UFC 278. There's some banger fights. Merab and Jose, Camaro and Leon. Do not miss the pay-per-view. Make sure you get your pay-per-view orders in right now, and don't go streaming it live, everybody. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me. MonkMMATics, you can check me out on Twitter. You can check me out on YouTube. Hit that game theory video, where I break down all 12 fights from a DraftKings perspective. Salary Voodoo is out on the MMA Engine. And I'm on the road to 400 guys on that MonkMMATics channel, 400 subs. So hit that like and subscribe over there. I would really, really appreciate it. Lou, what do you got coming? I know you just said it kind of in the short term, but anything to promote before you get out of here?
Yeah, go watch my soccer show too on DFS.
Yes.
I put out a lot of picks today. Last week was looking great until a 6-minute span where everything went to shit in like a 6-minute span, and 3 of my games completely collapsed. But but in general, that is one of my my best betting sport. It's not even really close. That's my way better betting sport. So if you guys cannot wait until 6 o'clock, 6:30 Eastern for fights, you just want to start gambling at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And even when I'm out, I'll still be posting my picks every week. So,
oh yeah. So yeah, be sure to follow that. Yeah, it's going to be a banger of a day tomorrow, guys. So get some rest. Watch Brady's video here coming up in about, I believe, 45 minutes or so. And then we have best bets on tomorrow. We've got, Brady does his thing in the morning, I believe, before the fight card starts. So check all that out. And guys, as usual, I want you all to enjoy the fights. Oh, one last question. What do you think of Nottingham Forest?
I have the draw.
That's Ariel's new team.
I have the draw at plus 250, and I have them double chance at minus 115. Everton stinks and should not be the favorite. Although I made the case earlier. Nottingham got very lucky to win at West Ham. They should have conceded 3 goals. They had 2 off the top of the crossbar, down straight, that didn't go in somehow, and they saved the penalty. God. Nottingham has scored 1 goal this year. But I think this is a 0-0 game, or it's 1-1 at best. But Everton is so bad. That draw plus 250, one of my favorite plays on the card.
Nice. Well, there you go. An extra little play in before you get that, before we can get going on the fights tomorrow. So get that in. And guys, as usual, I want all of you to enjoy the fights. So enjoy, and we will see you next time.